Episode 1: A Mysterious Meeting. Detective James Carter sat in a quiet cafe, sipping his tea. The city outside was dark, but the streetlights cast a warm glow. Across from him sat Oliver, a polite and charming man. He worked at a local bakery, always helping the elderly and feeding stray cats. But something about him seemed unusual. James smiled. "You're a good man, Oliver. Always helping others." Oliver chuckled. "Just doing my best, detective. The world needs kindness, doesn't it?" Little did James know, Oliver had a secret, one that would soon shake the entire city. Episode 2: The Silent Streets. That night, the city slept. But in the shadows, a group of masked men moved silently. They broke into a jewelry store, disabling the alarms with expert precision. Among them, Oliver's steady hands worked quickly, yet his eyes showed hesitation. "Hurry up, Oliver!" one of the men whispered. "We don't have all night." He nodded, stuffing diamonds into a bag. But as he looked at his reflection in the glass, doubt crept into his mind. Meanwhile, Detective Carter was walking through the empty streets. He had a feeling something was wrong. Episode 3: A Clue in the Dark. Detective Carter stopped near the jewelry store. The alarm hadn't gone off, but something felt wrong. He noticed fresh footprints on the wet pavement. "Strange," he muttered, kneeling to examine them. Inside the shop, Oliver froze. Through the glass, he saw a familiar figure outside. Carter. His heart raced. "We have to go. Now!" he whispered urgently to the gang. As they slipped into the shadows, Carter glanced up. He swore he saw movement inside. Was it just his imagination? Or was someone watching him? The next morning, Carter visited the bakery as usual. Oliver, back in his apron, greeted him with a smile. "Good morning, detective." "The usual." Carter nodded, eyeing Oliver carefully. "You look tired." "Long night?" Oliver's hands trembled slightly as he passed the bread. "Yeah, just busy with work." Carter studied him. Something felt off. He trusted Oliver, but his instincts whispered a different story. Episode 5: A Secret Revealed. That night, Detective Carter reviewed security footage from a nearby shop. His eyes widened. One of the masked men had the same build as Oliver. The way he moved, even the hesitation, it all matched. "No, it can't be him. Can it?" Determined, he grabbed his coat. He needed to talk to Oliver. Meanwhile, Oliver sat alone in his flat, staring at a bag of stolen jewelry. He sighed, rubbing his temples. Could he really keep living this double life? Just then, there was a knock on the door. "Oliver? It's Carter. We need to talk." Episode 6: The Conversation. Oliver took a deep breath and opened the door. Carter stood there, his sharp eyes scanning the room. "You seem nervous, Oliver." "Just tired, detective." "What's this about?" Carter stepped inside, glancing at the table. A cloth was draped over something. Oliver quickly moved in front of it. "There was a break-in last night," Carter said slowly. "Security footage shows someone moving like you." Oliver forced a laugh. "Me? A criminal? Come on, detective." But his fingers twitched. Carter noticed. Episode 7: A Dangerous Offer. Later that night, Oliver met with the gang in an abandoned warehouse. "You're getting sloppy, Oliver," the leader growled. "The detective is watching you." Oliver clenched his fists. He never wanted this life. "I want out," the gang laughed. "Out! You know too much. There's only one way out." Oliver's stomach turned. He was trapped. And worse, Carter was getting too close. A risky plan. Oliver knew he had two choices: run or confess. But running meant being hunted. And confessing, that could destroy everything. The next morning, he left an anonymous note at the police station. The gang is planning something big. Midnight. Warehouse on Dock Street. Carter read the note carefully. A tip-off. It could be a trap, but he had to check. Meanwhile, Oliver stood outside the bakery, staring at the sunrise. "Maybe it's time to do the right thing," he whispered. That night, Carter and his team arrived at the warehouse. It was quiet. Too quiet. "Stay alert," he whispered. Inside, the gang was waiting. But so was Oliver. He had called Carter here. "Boys," the leader sneered, "looks like we have a rat." Oliver's heart pounded. He had to act fast, before it was too late. Episode 10. The truth comes out. The gang moved fast, but Oliver moved faster. "Detective! Look out!" he shouted, pushing Carter aside as a gang member pulled a weapon. Carter hit the ground but quickly recovered, tackling one of the criminals. The warehouse exploded into chaos. Oliver grabbed the leader's arm. "It's over," he muttered. The leader smirked. "For you, maybe." Just then, the police sirens wailed outside. Backup had arrived. Carter looked at Oliver, breathing heavily. "Why did you help me?" Oliver gave a sad smile. "Because I was tired of running.